Well, we were talking about structure and we got
Yeah, no, we got to structure this, like start recording at a certain time, and well,
yes,
but no, okay,
steadily challenged at the show. J.R. Torina, the Master Butcher. We're recording now, and then Marc Prague Dude Hansen, the only guy on earth who likes Cold Lake by Celtic Frost. It's Celtic Frost. No, it's Celtic Frost.
Celtic Frost.
But he probably said Celtic Frost because he likes everything I hate. And if you guys don't know this show, well, there you go. That means it right there.
I don't like everything you hate.
Yes, you do.
I don't hate everything you like.
Fucking like Kiss Animalize, Kiss Asylum, Celtic Frost, Cold Lake. You probably say Celtic Frost instead of Celtic Frost.
No, I'm going to say Telkit Trough. I don't know.
Okay, that's dumb.
It is. Not everything is going to stick.
Well, we were talking about Napalm. How did we get on the topic of Napalm Death again? We were talking about the shortest songs, and we were talking about a friend of mine who tried to friend Marc on Facebook, and then
that's how we got on, because you were talking about
and we talked about Alcohol Death, the band from Salt Lake City who plays great grindcore, but two of them actually died from alcohol or drug related unfortunate happenstances, and one of them also was epileptic, so it was a bad mixture. So
and that led into we were talking about kind of how ironic you name your band Alcohol Death, and
how many bands do you think out there do that? Here's another one, Repulsion. We were talking about Repulsion again because we went on to the birth of grindcore. So you have Repulsion from Michigan, who influenced Napalm Death to do short, fast songs with ripping solos and a grindy bass guitar, hence grindcore. But they were a punk band, so that's where the fusion of punk and metal came to be that I love so much. But Repulsion, their drummer, his name is David Hollingshead. His nickname is Dave Grave. Why, you ask? Well, here's why. He dug up a grave and tried to steal the contents of that said grave. Whether or not he succeeded, I don't know, but it happened.
Really? Is he still around?
Oh, yeah. He's still the drummer of the band, if they're still around, as far as I know.
Oh.
The band is still the same lineup, except I think one of the guitarists is gone, and now it's a girl. But Scott Carlson is the bassist vocalist. He's the guy that invented that sloppy grind, fuzzy feedback bass noise that all the bands in England went crazy over, and thus did grindcore, and thus kind of begot death metal out of that. Other than for the Americans who are still trying to be Slayer.
Are they? They're not trying to be Slayer. I don't know what
American death metal bands want to be Slayer so bad, and they cannot. They have no concept of European death metal and what it's about. Why it's primeval and brutal and heavy. Gets right to the point. Doesn't waste fucking minutes with solos and shit. That's why I like European death. And Americans, it's like tight production, click pads on the kick drums so you can hear it, and it's not as heavy, but it's faster. You get more beats in. That's not what it's about. You're missing the point. That is not death metal. That's not what brutal, aggressive music is about, is beats per minute and production. That's why I don't like Dream Theater. Not taking anything away from them. They're musicians. They're great, but I don't want to listen to that. It's like listening to someone talk about American history versus another guy I know in a restaurant just starts talking to me about Vlad the Impaler. That's the history I want to hear, not George Washington bumped into this guy in Delaware, and that was the Battle of the Bump in 1854. Like, oh my God, really? That was an epic battle. And sorry, I went off there a little bit. What were you saying?
And there's our episode. I don't think this is working out, man. No, you know what I think?
American death metal bands are good. Some of it's okay, but too much of it just sounds the same. Like, say, Malevolent Creation, their first album, I bought that. It was good, and I was kind of into it, but it was just basically, to me, it was like slightly heavier thrash. And I was kind of bored by it halfway through. I'm like, okay, well, this isn't really taking me anywhere versus, say, Carcass, where you have all this different stuff going on in each song, and the lyrics are really different, and the solos are really different. There's two different vocalists, or three in some cases. So now, why do you love American death metal so much? You're a musician's musician, though.
No, I'm not even. I play.
You didn't earn the nickname Prog Dude by being into Napalm Death, my friend.
Well, I know, because I went in there asking for you to get some prog albums.
If you're listening to the show, it's because Mark went into my then CD shop, The Abyss, in Salt Lake City, and every week would go, "Hey, can you get in Dream Theater's rare tour EP or whatever the fuck?" And so I would try and find it, and thus he became Frog Dude. But here he is,
you know, I feel kind of
lecturing
bad
me
because
about Carcass.
there was a couple of times I'm like, hey man, you should get some of this band in, and you'd get him in, and I'd go and I'm like, I already got that album.
Yeah, that used to piss me off so bad.
So it sat on your shelf, and that's why it went out of business. It's my
Yep.
fault. Do you like? Do you stay on top of like just like new death metal bands, or it almost sounds like what you're saying is like something that somebody would say in like '97 or '8 about death metal or something. You know,
Well,
like
that's because I'm been largely the exact same person my whole life. I'm like pretty consistent, you know. It's
yeah,
even back when I did my radio show back in early 1991 or 92 when it was all coming out, I played it all. But after a while, you got to pick out the differences. You were like, okay, Malevolent Creation, they're from Florida. They sound like this. It sounds like a heavier Slayer. It's not bad, but it's kind of just clean and just not there. Cannibal Corpse from New York, but moved to Florida.
uh-huh.
Or did they move to Florida? I can't remember. No, they're
They
still in.
did. No, they're from Buffalo,
But then in
and they moved to Florida.
you have Deicide and all these other bands from America, and then the really proggy technical ones like Cynic and Sadus, and then Death, who I loved their first album, but after that they lost me because they started going proggy and technical.
Remember what I said though about like what's going to happen to any band that just through playing a lot, touring a lot, they become better players. And
That's true. And
that's
like, we were talking
inevitable.
about hypocrisy last week when you said that, and I get that the hypocrisy. They've made changes in their career. Their sounds have changed a little bit, but they remain largely consistent to who they are and what their music is. They haven't completely gone like rock like some of these other Swedish death metal bands, like Entomb. You know, and that was I'm sorry, Wolverine Blues fucking sucked. I hate that record. I hate it. Like it's not death metal. And I met the band once, and I asked him, and he's like, "Oh no, we haven't changed." And I'm like, "Yeah, you fucking have. Get out of here. You don't sound like Left Hand Path anymore. That ain't what you're playing." So
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's because I play that I understand like sort of
well, there you
yeah
go. You musician,
evolution.
because you play and you see that, but those a lot of us who listen that don't play are like, "What the fuck are you doing on this album?" You know?
Well, let me ask you. I mean, do you listen to any of that like kind of new? I don't know if this is the actual term for it, but like the new wave of old school death metal, like Tomb Mold, Blood Incantation. Uh, Fuck, I can't really think of any other ones, but what's the other one? Undeath, where they're kind of taking the old production style. You know what I mean? Like new wave of old school thrash. You know, you have these kids coming out and they're playing like thrash metal. That sounds like
I'll tell you this right
insane.
now: the thrash bands that are doing that are trying to be retro. I really fucking hate that. I somehow, for
Really?
some reason, I just find them annoying. They're trying to have, or they do have in some cases, Ed J. Repka artwork like all the old bands did.
Oh yeah.
And the layout looks almost like an old thrash record where it's just like really sparse and kind of simple. And
Hmm.
I mean that's a nice gesture for like one record or one band, but
Should they be played like? That's the thing is like
what you're saying is he need to progress, and that's what I'm saying
Well,
is
no, I'm not even
why are
saying
they
you
going
need
back and
to.
being retro? I mean,
I'm just saying that you like that raw kind of early thrash, early death stuff. So when a newer band comes along and plays in that style, you, it's almost like they're appropriating, you know, uh, something of yours. But if that music's going to keep going, someone's got to do it. The Napalm Death can't play when they're 90. So a new band has to come out with to carry that same sound, and then other bands are going to move on and evolve and
well,
get
I'm
more
not against new
technical.
bands. I'm just saying like new bands that are trying to be retro, and that's their identity, is just something somebody else did, and that's all they're doing, then what's the point of that?
because
If you're going to take
they
something,
want to play retro. Like, yeah, they'd probably admit, yeah, we're trying to capture that sound, that classic sound. You know, it's. I mean, I'm sure there's some bands that are doing it that are disingenuous about it, but I don't know. I think it's too much effort to put into something to be totally like just what do they capitalize? What do they have to gain? What does anybody have to gain on playing like underproduced, you know, like old school death metal, you know what I
well,
mean? Or
I'm not
thrash.
anybody has to play all underproduced stuff. I mean, that's the good thing about the death metal scene, is all the diversity stuff. You have
But then
American stuff.
you just got through saying it all sounded the same.
Well, it does, but I'm just saying,
Or-
you have that choice though. If you want to dip into a little bit of immolation or whatever, then you have it. Then you can juxtapose that with something really brutal and heavy, like Flesh Crawl from Germany, or whatever, like just some other like really heavy brutal band. But then you can go dark and do like darker death metal, or like the blackened death metal, or just straight over to black metal.
yeah.
And black, we talked about this last week. Black metal is the same way. You have black metal started out as just raw, noisy, underproduced stuff that had some keyboards and screechy vocals, and that was before Norway. Then after Norway, it became this more like picking, chord writing, a little more produced. Like the topics changed a little bit. Then all of a sudden, it became this sweeping, epic 10-minute songs with keyboards and technical like stuff. And then you have the gothic black metal, and just it went on and on, all these different variations of it. And there's some of it I hate and some of it I like, but guess what one I return to every time? Really raw, underproduced stuff, because that's the essence of what black metal really is, and was when it at its inception.
Mm. Yeah. Well,
Like right
we
now,
need.
the tape scene, there's a black metal tape scene. All these bands are coming out like with just tapes, and you can get their songs on Bandcamp because the tapes sell out immediately. So you can get their songs on Bandcamp. Really
Right.
good, really raw stuff. Like no pictures of the band, or maybe just one like shitty picture. You can't tell what's what. Song titles. There's no like intricate lyrical stuff. There's no.
But
I mean,
isn't that the same? Like, are they doing the same thing that you just got through kind of ripping on the thrash bands about? You know, like the sparse, you know.
but that's the difference, though, is you feel, this is the essence of metal right here, is you feel like what's genuine and what isn't. That's what I'm saying. What is genuine,
Yeah.
what's not. So all these thrash band things that are coming out where they want to do this stuff, it just seems like they're trying to ape that style and kind of like capture, like you said, that feeling, and then that ethos of being in that thrash band in the 80s, and that's cool, but when they're all doing it, and it's just not the thing, it's not really real, you know what I mean? Like this black metal thing, these guys are serious about their shit, and they live, eat, and breathe this music, whereas these other guys are probably just like college kids who discovered metal on fucking Spotify, and they want to do this band. And I've seen bands like this, and they're good,
I
they sound good,
I
but their
get it.
heart's not really in it, you know. And get Ed Repka to do your cover, you're still gonna. I mean, what are you doing? What's the point of this? You know, and it might be a good album, it's worth a listen, but you're really into metal, that you are into the metal. It's not just about the music. You know what I mean? Like I'm like 52 talking about metal for life and like never sell out. But I mean, that's really what we're talking about here, isn't it? Kind of.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
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 But maybe no, and I was gonna say I had a little bit of that. Just even today, I was watching. You know, as a guitar player, I was watching just like some shredding, you know, YouTube videos of like these young kids that are just taking the guitar to like levels like I've never seen before. You know, and they're so good. They're so like technical, and at the same time, though, I'm sometimes wondering like this is almost like a video game generation. Are they treating music almost like a like it's just a video game? They're just, you know, if they do a particular technique, you know, perfectly, you know, it's just a level up kind of thing, you know, and it's
Well,
on to
that's
the
what I
next
was
song.
saying. It seems like some of them are treating it like it's like this retro cool thing. Oh, dude, bro, we should do a metal band just for kicks. And like you have these kids that aren't into any kind of music, and they're just into like skateboarding and marijuana, and that's their thing. And then they just decide they're going to put this out, and they're not into metal. You say, oh yeah, that sounds like old Death Row from Germany. Do you know that band? Like, what? Are they like Slayer? And like, no, Death Row from Germany. Nothing, not or kind of like Slayer, but not really. But is that me being too particular, like too old school, like too metal or die? I mean, that's just
I
how I am, and that's how it was back then.
I don't
It's
know. I'm kind of trying to figure it out.
are
Like,
they posers? Is this in fact the posers that we all say we hate? Because that's what I kind of what I'm thinking, I guess.
I don't know. Like, I guess with music, with me, it's sort of a metal is my favorite music, but I still put it under the umbrella of music.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily I don't put really many restrictions on it, which is why I can.
Well,
I
I
remember
do. I'm very much. I have like rules,
yeah,
regulations, and restrictions, as you say. And here's
yeah,
one.
and I have
Here's
none. It's all sonic to me. Like
well, here's a couple of bands. I know you and I have traded barbs over Facebook about this in the past, but here's a couple of bands: Ghost and Babymetal. Ghost,
yeah,
I get.
I was just about to bring up Baby Metal, but go ahead.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm going to drive over there and fight you in a minute if you say what I think you're going to say. But okay, first of all, Ghost. Ghost is comprised of members of other metal bands. We know this. I can't remember the name of. I think Repugnance was one of them. That's where the original vocalist of Ghost was from, and I heard Candlemass. I can't prove that, but at any rate, Ghost is a good band, but they're not a metal band, and they never claimed to be. So all these metalheads on Facebook or supposed metalheads are talking shit on Ghost. So much like Morbid Angel's Illudium record that everybody hates. Everybody jumps on the bandwagon. Yeah, fuck Ghost. They're not metal. That's for pussies and hipsters and you do see a lot of hipsters wearing Ghost t-shirts.
oh
But that
yeah,
doesn't mean the band is lame or they're hipsters. They're not a metal band in the first place. They are more influenced by Cream and stuff like that, but they have a dark edge, and that's cool. I think they're a great band. I actually wouldn't mind seeing them live. They put on a good
Ghost.
show.
I hate to admit this, and this is where maybe my little inner JR comes out. But I haven't really looked into Ghost. Like I haven't heard a single song, mainly because of just like too many people who's like I don't know, too many people love them that I don't, like people that I'm like, oh, here's this guy saying how much they love Ghost, but I'm like, I don't know, 5 years ago that guy was like talking about Nickelback like they're the greatest thing. You know what I mean? Like, can I trust this guy? Do I want to jump on that bandwagon? So part of me is almost afraid to like
Well,
him.
here's what it is, and this is why you're confused, is first of all, everyone on the internet thinks they're a metal band because of their image and because metalheads don't like them, but also because they have the dark imagery, but they're not playing dark music specifically. That's the thing.
Yeah,
That's
from
why
what I
people
hear, they
get
sound like
into it.
ABBA.
Huh?
From what I understand, they sound like ABBA, which is probably why I'd love it. But
Not ABBA. I mean, like I said, if you picture Cream,
Cream,
Yardbirds, early Zeppelin, something like that, that's Ghost, but with the dark edge and the dark presentation. So it's kind of a unique thing, and they're not trying to be metal, and that's the thing. There's no reason for metalheads to hate this band, but it's become a thing on Facebook, much like, oh, you're not allowed to like the new Morbid Angel record, Illudium Insanus, or whatever that one is called, because everybody hates it. So therefore, it's the one we all must hate. So, like Ghost, you have to hate Ghost. And I got caught up in that for a minute, but then I thought, well, wait a minute. Like, they're not even trying to be a metal band. Like, let me hear this. And I heard it. I'm like, well, this is good. It's not metal at all. Now, let's flip the coin over. Babymetal. That's
hmm
not even a real band. It's fucking two little girls or three little girls singing about chocolate,
three.
doing synchronized movements, wearing skirts. That's not metal. Sorry. End of story right there. Everybody's like, well,
Mm,
why can't it be metal? Metal can be anything. No, it can't. Metal is a certain structure, a certain lyrical content, a certain type of music, and it's a band, not a showcase for some little girls to do choreographed movements. And
okay.
what? Go
Well,
ahead.
okay, no, no, keep going. You're
Okay, well, I was
doing
going to
good.
say, here's something to prove my point is wrestling. I love wrestling. I know you don't watch it, but here's the deal with wrestling. You have real wrestling that happened in the going back to like even the 30s and stuff and beyond, but up to say the 70s. It was wrestling was just a guy in tights, no music, no nothing. He just came out, another guy in tights. They would fight. they still had the thing with like the interfering managers, the ref didn't see the chair shot, that kind of thing. Now you have wrestling on TV where it's this big glorified thing with like entertainment and drama and stories, and there are people doing flips and dives and they're jumping into tables. It's no longer just a chair shot. Then you see them get up from all that stuff and they just walk away and they're not acting like it's hurting them anymore. So they're just pretending to be wrestlers. And that's the big thing in the wrestling world right now is they're both promotions that are out there that are in America are pushing stuff that is pretend wrestling and it's not really looking real like it used to, even though it was still scripted back then. And that's what bands like Babymetal are to me. They're presenting themselves one way, or those thrash bands we just talked about. They're presenting themselves as one thing, but they're really not all that into it, and they're really not. And Babymetal's not a band. Like, did those girls tape trade? No. Did they write to other bands? No. Did they tour with like real bands? No. Are they a phenomenon on the internet? Yeah. There you go. Like, just because it's on the internet, that actually gives it less credibility to me. And I know that's me being old school, but and there's a real band playing with them and they're playing the music, but they're not a band. I mean, who are they? You know, and so Babymetal, their
Yeah.
thus is not a metal band. That's just a gimmick and like a thing, like a funny joke thing for people on the internet. And that's even over now, isn't it? Are they still doing that?
Babymetal? Yeah.
And that's
Well,
not
okay, so
sexist just because they're girls. There's all girl death metal bands and all that, but
no, obviously you're racist. But
yeah, that's it.
no, listen. So
Damn you! Go
no,
ahead.
I understand. Whatever. Hiroshima. The so the reason I say Babymetal is metal is because metal is is in the name of the band.
Oh, okay.
What more do you need? It's like Antifa.
You're trying to be
Yeah,
funny because you
yeah.
don't
Antifa
argue.
will burn down your fucking coffee shop because you don't think the right way. But they're not fascists. They're anti-fascist. It's in the name. Babymetal. It's in the
Well,
name.
that's another argument. What does that have to do with Babymetal?
I'm talking about semantics here. Um, no, because metal to me is a sonic. It's a sound first and foremost.
Okay, so what are you saying?
I'm
Because
saying that their
and thought it was
sound.
a funny gimmick to have little girls singing about chocolate that thus is a metal band. I mean, no,
Well,
disagree.
if you strip it down and listen to the music, what do you get? Heavy ripping guitars,
But it's not
blast beat.
real. It's just there. It's just there's no meaning to it. There's
But somebody's playing it. It's music that's been written. It's a
well, they
band playing
are,
it.
and you could do that for a commercial for a cell phone. I've seen that before. In fact, there was a
Yeah,
in
and
that
if someone's playing a thrash riff over an AT&T commercial, I'll be like, wow, that's cool. They're using metal music.
they
I'm not
actually
saying.
iPhone did that. Do you remember that? iPhone used I think it was Rattlehead by Megadeth from their first album. That like that weird riff they did. It was on an iPhone commercial like a couple of years ago. Do you remember that?
I don't
It was
remember.
Megadeth from the first album. I'm pretty sure it was the song Rattlehead, but it was like it showed people skiing and wiping out and just like animals attacking other animals, and it was a commercial for an iPhone. I'm like, okay, like people wiping out and animals killing each other and Megadeth, but it's an iPhone. Like that's completely the and that kind of makes my point for me again is like, why are they advertising all this brutal shit for a fucking iPhone? Like the epitome of like trendy mall rats and just normal people, you know?
Yeah, like I said, like now I know there's a certain culture that is attached to metal most of the time, but at the end of the day, like to me, it begins with pretty much for me, metal ends or begins and ends just with the sound of it. It's a certain sound of guitars, a certain sound of drums
Well, that's
and
because you're a
bass.
poser.
Yeah, I am. It's because I'm a poser. One man's,
I
what is
guess
it? One man's
maybe
ghost is another man's Poison.
maybe I'm being like Gran Torino here, even though that is almost my last name. Is like I feel like
No.
I've gone through the rounds of metal here. I've you used to have to write to a band, like wait for it to go all the way across the globe, write them a letter before the internet, and then you have to wait for them to write you back. Sometimes you'd have to send international reply coupons that you buy at the post office so they could buy stamps.
Mhm.
Sometimes they wouldn't write you back at all, or you send the tape or you tape trade, and all that is because you're really into the music. Now it's just like you get online, you see something, it tickles your fancy, so you promote that as metal. That's baby metal. That's not metal. That's just little fucking girls singing about chocolate. Like, no, sorry, you're not just jumping onto this and you're a metal band. Fuck you. Get out of here. Sorry.
Oh, they might be okay. So they might not be a metal band, but the music is metal.
The music, the band that they have that's playing is metal music, but it's just nondescript because they're just doing it as background fluff for the showcase of it, which is the little
I
girls
don't
singing
know.
about chocolate. So therefore,
Well,
it gets
once again, like here's
metal.
my
Sorry.
here's the
What?
musician. Here's my musician side coming out that
Well, I'm not
just
bashing the musicians. I mean, they're playing music, it's good, but they're doing it for a joke, and it's taking a back seat to these little
oh,
girls singing about chocolate. Like, fuck that, get out of here.
they that ain't no joke, man.
That's a commercial in
I,
Japan. That's really how that started too, wasn't it? Weren't they on the commercial and it's became a thing? Or
I don't know. I don't, I'm not the fucking baby metal historian here.
well, you
Um,
act like it. You out of them.
no, I mean I'm not even really that big of a fan. It's just that I listen to. I'm
You just
like,
like to bust my balls about it.
no, I'm just saying it's metal. It as much as I mean it's not metal like you know fucking Exodus or something like that, but it's metal. And there's pictures of them, with Rob Halford and Biff Bifford probably, and I don't know. I mean, they seem to be fans of it themselves, and if you're three, little Japanese girls that wants to break into the metal scene, this is the way to do it.
Yeah, sure.
One of the biggest bands, and I've talked about these guys not on the show before, but I've like made Facebook posts about them like a couple years ago, like keep an eye out for this band because they're going to be gigantic. And that's Ginger. Have you checked them out?
Ginger,
From the Ukraine?
like ginger tea.
Jinjer is the name of the band.
No idea. And what is this?
Yeah.
Fronted gothic metal, but with redheads.
No, I'd call it female fronted extreme metal. It's really good. I don't know if you'd like it because it's pretty technical music. They're very technical, but their singer is one of the most charismatic, just badass females like around.
Well, I'm not bashing any woman who plays metal. If they play good music, I don't care what gender they are. In fact, I bought one of those black metal demos we were talking about. I've been listening to it, and I just discovered that some of the band are all girls. I had no idea, but it didn't matter because I was listening to people playing guitar. So who cares? It's
Yeah.
good. It's fucking great. You don't see it as often as just all guys in the band. But what I'm getting at is you have this safe haven of the gothic female fronted music, and that's where most of the girl like singers are into because that's where they can be sexy and beautiful and then sing and do all that stuff. And to me, I'm like, okay, well, that you're going off into goth now. That's not even really metal anymore.
Yeah.
Uh, but you have bands like well, you mentioned Nervosa. There's one called Astarte, who are all female black metal bands. Numerous death metal bands, Mythic, Dercada. There's various female members of bands, and the biggest one, of course, is Joe Bench, the bass player from the band Bolt Thrower, who had been around before
Oh,
any of those fucking bands. She's
I'm okay.
Bolt Thrower. She's with their bros. She plays death metal. Boom. That's it. And she's always done it. I'm not saying you need to keep your head down, but I'm just saying like you're accepted. You're there. You're playing. Just why
Oh
is
yeah,
it?
yeah. Well, I also think that
It's not a big deal, but you're making it a big deal. And then when it's just like everything else in today's woke society. It's like if you don't acknowledge it, you're in trouble. But if you do, then you're in trouble for acknowledging and pointing it out. Like you have a
with
problem.
JR, yeah. Yeah, that if you acknowledge that JR's up your ass, like um yeah, it puts them in a bad they're in an awkward spot. Like
You
so
son of a bitch. What did you just say?
no, but you make a kind of in a way a good point because
Kind of in a way.
what are they supposed to do? Like either they address it or they don't, and
There's
whatever
nothing
they
to
do, they're
address.
kind
Is
of
my point. Is like
there
you're
isn't
accepted. It doesn't matter if you're a girl. It doesn't matter if you're black.
right.
Suffocation. Like nobody's making a big deal about Mike Smith, the drummer, or Terrence, the guitarist. Like they're there, they're playing. We don't care if you're black or white or whatever. It's just like
I gotta admit, like I was when
well,
I
I
saw
mean,
Suffocation, I'm
initially
like,
I
holy
thought it was
shit,
cool.
that's awesome. You know, like
Well,
yeah.
yeah, initially it was a cool thing, but I mean, okay, they're there and like,
But
you know,
what I'm saying is like just the way society's been going, it puts them in a spot where they have to address it. Like they might not want to, but maybe their publicist is going like, you got to go out there and do that whole, what's it like to be a girl in the metal scene talk, and talk about how it's just, you had to fight harder than anybody else, like they're,
but
I
they
don't
don't.
think,
That's my point. Is you're all
no,
metalheads
I'm
are not
saying
racist.
I think there's pressure for them to do that though. So
There's really that's my whole point. Is like
no, there is
people
like,
who like
there's a lot of
metal
external,
like metal. It doesn't matter
well, I know, but
what
these
gender
are,
you are. It just matters if your heart is into it. That's why Babymetal is fucking lame, and they're not a real metal band. But Nervosa, they're a fucking metal band. Okay, like
they're both
focus
metal.
the
I just don't think they should be on the same bill. But no,
I'm seriously
I'm
gonna get in
saying
my car and drive over there right now.
it's not it's not metal fans that are putting them in that position.
It's not. That's
It's
what I'm saying.
metal. But it's these external things that have like push, like they have some kind of power. Like it's media. It's people like oh, what we always bring him up, that stupid metal. What's his name? Dunham, Dart.
Huh?
Oh, it's people like
Oh,
Sam
yeah,
Dunn.
Sam
You
Dunn.
know what I mean? They're kind of creating this.
Metal: A
Oh,
Headbanger's Journey.
like what kind of, do you deal with a lot of misogyny out there? It's like, well, yeah, you do, because guys are pigs, and you get a bunch of guys on a bus. There's gonna be like just gross jokes and all that shit. But if you want to call that toxic, it's not. It's just boys goofing off. And you don't even need to like keep up with that. Like I don't know. But I do think that whether these female metal musicians want to do it or not, I think there's pressure by more powers that be to push them to talk about it, to keep it on the. Yeah, most people would just be like, "No, you showed up, you kicked ass, you're in the club, right? You don't have to worry about it."
You could have a point there. I mean, it just seems
But
like
yeah, I'm talking like publicists, labels. Someone kind of pointed out that a lot of girls don't dress necessarily to impress other men, it's to impress other women. Not necessarily in a lesbian thing, but kind of in a little bit more
it's
of a
like it's guys are the same way.
competitive.
Guys are
Yeah.
the same way. You wear a tight shirt with short sleeves and you're bulging out of there with your muscles. You
Hmm.
get compliments from guys, bro. How much do you bench?
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah. And I'm like
It's
going,
a
hey man,
guys too. And you go to the
that's a
gym and guys
beautiful
like,
cock you've got there. Oh man, those
yeah,
balls.
look at that bulge in your pants. Like,
I'm not
damn,
gay
dude.
or anything, man, but I would
I'm
just
not
like to
gay, but
drag those right across my nose. But I don't know
oh
where we're
boy.
going with this, man.
Hold on a
Uh,
minute. How do we get from hot girls to gay actions in the gym? Like, holy shit.
I don't know, dude. We're stepping on a lot of landmines, though.
Oh yeah, this show's gonna get us canceled. We're not even
Yeah,
picking fights.
the low cut. You might as well say she was asking for it, but well, that's not the case,
And that
obviously.
is a Cannibal Corpse song, by the way, listeners.
It's Cannibal Corpse song.
Was
They
that a
were
Cannibal Corpse? Yeah, it was.
was yeah, it was. That was more commentary.
Guys are the same way. I get it. And you have guys in death metal band photos, and they're like I said, they're like David Vincent with no shirt, sticking their arms out, and like all these other
Mhm.
dudes are like wearing bullet belts. And
Yeah,
sometimes it's so ludicrous when you look at it, especially
yeah,
black metal is like that. They've got like the corpse paint, the spikes, and like
yeah,
who you're trying to impress. You're like this 100-pound guy, like rail thin, skinny, and you're wearing
yeah.
all the spikes. You can't even lift up your arm with that. You're so weak. I mean, I'm not afraid of you. I'll punch a hole through
Well,
you.
it's like, well, to me, there's a lot of I think that's where the overlap with like kind of like role play, uh, RPG kind of stuff comes in. Because there's a lot. It's fantasy, dude. It's escapism. So why not? Why not dress up like just some badass Norse fucking
Well,
warlock
it's
or
all part
whatever?
of like
It's fun. It's
all
fun to
part of the metal
pretend.
thing. But again, the point is if you dress like that and you're playing kick-ass
And
metal,
and
it's all
you're
it's all part
Euronymous.
of the package. That's what you want. But if you're wearing corpse paint and you're just doing it and you're not into black metal, but you want to be cool, you look fucking ridiculous. If you're walking into a goth club wearing corpse paint and you're
You
trying
just
to
look
be serious,
ridiculous.
dark, and
At
like,
our age, we just look ridiculous walking anywhere. Um, Much less a goth club. No, but I
well,
was
you
gonna
got
say,
pink lipstick. I've been telling you, the Vinnie Vincent look is out.
yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know what Vinnie Vincent's doing these days, but
Well, I'm
I think
talking about the old Vinnie Vincent. You still have like the teased hair and the glitter and all that, the pink lipstick. I mean, that looks over, dude. Seriously.
fun fact. When I was in fifth grade, me and four friends got together, and it was a talent show, and we did a Vinnie Vincent song. We just lip sync, pretended to play. It was pretty cool.
You lip synced, huh? So you've always been a poser.
I've always been a poser, yes. Um, and the song was, I think, it was No Substitute, I believe.
The ballad?
No, no, it was a harder rock song.
To that one?
No, was it this one? Hold on, let me see
You
here.
picked the ballad off the
Yeah, I Want You. It's not
I
really a
we
ballad.
have Vincent like right on hand, like ready to go, like just at a whim's notice because we just randomly picked
I
that up.
knew I knew eventually we were going to talk about Vinnie Vincent, so I had it ready to go. Well, I had a joke about Euronymous, but now it's actually too late because you wouldn't shut
I
up.
used to joke around about Euronymous. I'd say, why are black metal photos always in black and white? Why? Because they're wearing pink corpse paint, but you can't tell in the black and white photo.
I was going to say Euronymous got shot because he forgot the safe word.
He didn't get shot, he got stabbed.
Exactly.
God
Well,
damn
see,
it.
and my
You don't even know what you're talking about.
dude, I will perfect that joke. I'll go back to the writing board and
Speaking of which, have you watched Lords of Chaos yet?
I have not.
Failure.
I'll have it done.
Well, guess what? I ordered the DVD because they pulled it off of Hulu, so now I want to own it. So I bought the DVD.
You liked it that much, huh? Oh,
Yeah,
it's
and
weird
here's the
because
other
like
thing right here, right there. This goes in with the argument we've been having for this whole show. Is when you're into something, when you're into metal and you were there, you really resent other people who jump onto the bandwagon. Here is the prime case right here is Mayhem. I
Macaulay
was
Culkin.
there in the 90s. I
Uh-huh.
knew some of these guys. I used to write to Euronymous. We called him on the phone and would trade records, or we're going to. Some of the other guys in the other bands we would write to, I still had the letters. Now you have people on VH1. Oh, that band where the one dude killed himself and the other guy ate his brain. Who are you? Like Wesley Crusher from Star Trek or some hipster jackass from some sitcom are talking about it. That's what they're known for.
Wesley
Like
Crusher
fuck.
ate his brain. Oh, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
Wesley.
So
Okay.
you have this movie now. Lords of Chaos was coming out. Some of the bands did not want anything to do with it, and they scorned it. And I did initially, as did all black metal fans,
Hmm.
especially those of us from that time who knew some of these guys. But now that it was done, first of all, it was handled by Jonas Ackerlund, who is had something to do with Bathory, let's just say. Bathory
Hmm.
being the gods of like early black metal, like the
Right,
progenitor,
right.
not Venom, Bathory. And
Right, right.
so he directed the movie, and like if you know your shit, then you see all these little details and nuances that they put in there. But if you don't, you just don't even know, you just don't pay attention. But like the t-shirts they're wearing, like the flyers up on the wall in their bedrooms and in the record shop, like it's ones that I had that came out of an actual record that I had
Hmm.
perform. And then there's certain pictures of like a band like Celtic Frost with the drummer that they never actually used, but they took some pictures with it. Like all these little things, like little things like that, plus attention to detail about how the story went. And then the more I watched it, the more I'm like, and then they also had the balanced view of what happened between Burzum and Mayhem versus like the book Lords of Chaos, where it was really kind of one-sided in favor of Burzum. So they made Euronymous out to be like a bumbling dumblefuck, and then the other guy like he was a super intelligent genius, when in fact they were both just hot-headed young kids vying for attention. And
Yeah.
if you knew all of this stuff when it was going on, you were kind of experienced it. You were kind of there in a way. Plus, you wrote to these people and talked to them on the phone.
Mhm.
Then you see the movie, you were kind of against it. But once the movie came out, you accepted. You're like, okay, they actually did this right. This is pretty good. This looks legit. There are all these little attentions to details, so they put in their time doing the homework. Versus if they had just made like a Hollywood like rendition of it, where it was just like all famous people and just kind of like playing off, like just like kind of aping what really happened just because they found a cool movie to do. You know what I mean? It's like it's same thing.
Right.
It's like the music and the bands. It's like there are sincere and genuine people, and there are insincere and disingenuous people who are playing metal just because they look good or something. You know, it's same with that.
Right.
Like I was against that movie coming out, but once it came out, I actually watched it just because it happened to be on my Hulu, and I was like, oh shit, okay, I'll check it out. And I was like, holy shit, this is really good. They paid attention to detail every step of the way. Grieg Holland Studios, like the fact that Euronymous ate kebabs a lot, drank a lot of Coke and beer, like all these dumb little things aren't really pertinent to
Yeah.
the story, but they're there. So
Well,
you
and
who made that movie knew what the fuck they were talking about, versus if it was Hollywood, they would have just had some rock star got killed by a guy and he ate his brain and that was it.
I gotta admit, so it was the Culkin kid played Dead, right?
No, he played Euronymous.
He played
Rory Culkin
Euronymous.
was Euronymous.
Oh,
Always in
okay.
the RSF.
He has a good look for that for sure.
Uh,
Like
kinda.
he just has that very Norwegian look.
He actually didn't really look like him that much, but I mean,
No,
it served
I'm just
its
saying his
purpose.
look really just fit the
Well,
like
yeah, he's
they
kind of,
he
and
looked
that's the too.
it looked genuine. It looked authentic, like an authentic black metal kid.
Well, here's the other thing too: is most black metal kids were like scrawny little runts, like
Yeah,
all of
like
them,
him.
except Euronymous. He worked out in the gym a lot, and they actually kind of put that into the movie. He took his shirt off and he was a little bit ripped. I'm like, oh, they had another thing they paid attention to. And like all these little things, like okay, well they did it, and like versus say other bands who do other types of music, like these disingenuous thrash bands, they're just like playing a certain riff that sounds like that, and they have like the certain kind of artwork. It's not really genuine to me. It's not sincere. Same thing
And
with
that's
this movie. It's like the opposite. Like they actually got everything right. Like they did their homework and they knew what the fuck what was going on. And
yeah. Well, I think authenticity is another one of those things. It's hard to sometimes it's hard to judge. Like
well, it's not though. That's what I'm saying. If you're a true metalhead,
well, yeah. If
you can
it's
pick it
not
up
if I'm
if
you,
someone's lying to you.
well, to a point. Well, and that's why it's like I don't know.
When Cradle
Uh,
of Filth came out, everyone hated it because they were like, "Fuck you guys! What are you doing? You're not black metal." And they kind of tried to present themselves as black metal back then. Then they wised up, probably either on their own or at the behest of the label or whatever, and just kind of changed it to gothic metal or whatever. And then fine, it was like no one gave a fuck. You're gothic metal, cool. You're vampires and no big deal. And they're still around. They actually just played here, didn't they, in Salt Lake like a few days ago?
Cradle of Filth. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well,
I
neither do
miss. I've missed a few shows. We need to start going to shows, dude. Let's.
Cradle of Filth was just here. Dying Fetus was just here. Origin, I think, was just here.
Origin was, yeah. I don't know what's coming up.
Yeah.
Want to read some Blabbermouth? Should we just like go through Blabbermouth? I got it pulled up. See what's going on in the news. I don't think you keep up. You don't keep your finger on the pulse of the
Well,
metal.
actually, I don't, because a lot of that stuff is either clickbait or it's just stuff like the other day I have Metal Injection in my news feed and they talk about uh Five Doors Down or something or some fucking. I'm like, what? When is this metal? Like, what? I
You're,
was gonna
think, you're,
actually.
you're thinking of Three Finger Door Punch. Um,
Yeah, that's it. Three finger bowling ball. 5-finger bowling ball.
5-finger bowling.
Well, I was going to ask you, well, Death and Satan are your meat and potatoes in music, though.
Right. Of course, you need your you need your you need something to stick to the ribs, but
You do, and I'm not a vegetarian, so.
or the other stuff, the cosmic.
Or is it I'm a vegetarian? That's
Addicted to vaginal skin. That's
yeah,
another.
oh, you got vegetarian. That's an Exhumed song.
Oh no. I was thinking of Addicted to Vaginal Skin, which is Cannibal Corpse.
Of course, you're going Cannibal Corpse. You got to check out Exhumed if you like technical bands.
Dude, I love Exhumed.
Exhumed and Impaled.
I went and saw I saw Exhumed twice in the last 2 years.
I think they were just here too, not too long ago.
I went to that show.
Yeah, how was it?
It was Exhumed and Witchery and someone else. It was awesome. They always put on a great show. Really good band.
Have you ever heard Impaled? It was like guys from Exhumed. It's just the same kind of band, but some of the guys from Exhumed started another band like that. Like
I think I might have checked them out. They might have been a little too raw.
They're really guitar driven. I mean, you need to revisit, and maybe we'll do them on the next show, Impaled and Exhumed, because
are they the one that has the cover of some guy that's dead off the toilet? And
Yep. There's a toilet with intestines in it. They're just over the top gore.
Yeah.
Musically, they're really shredding. I mean, and that's the thing, is that's not my kind of thing usually, but they're so good at it that it just grabs your attention. So kind of like some of the bands I have on the label. It's I would never have wanted to sign to my record label American death metal style bands, especially ones from out of the country.
Do you have any more of those Blast Machine t-shirts? Machine?
What about them?
Do you have any of their t-shirts left?
No, I never had them. I got that one from the band. It was your Asian sizes are so small. I don't wear it anymore. I gave it to a girl that I worked with, and
that's great because I wear an Asian large now.
Oh, do you?
Hey, because you know how large in U.S. sizes are 10 years ago they would have been XLs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, large over there is here. Our large is there is a 2X. So, and their large over here is a small. I literally could not wear that shirt.
I wear a medium or even a large nowadays. I used to wear extra large.
Well, I have a Slaughterhouse Records shirt, but I don't have any. I do have Winterlore shirts though, but talking about Impaled being so technical, and there were bands I signed to the label, say Evil Conscience, that were so their technicality, even I had to take notice of it.
That band blew me away.
Impaled, they were just really good and had some really hooky riffs and stuff, and the vocal attacks and the lyrics were just absurd. I mean, and they do a cover of I think Nirvana and some other bands, and just it's kind of a fun band. I mean, I think you'd like them. Now, did you listen to any of the other stuff I sent you, like Pain or The Abyss or any of that? The Hypocrisy side projects?
No.
You have failed.
Yeah, that's why I was saying I need structure. I think sometimes when I'm oh my God, there's so many things to listen to, I get a little overwhelmed. Sometimes you overwhelm me.
I sent them to you.
You're suffocating me, James. Or JR. What does the J stand for? What is your name? JR? The J and the R stands for something.
They don't, actually.
Seriously?
Jehoshaphat Raphael.
Jehoshaphat?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, I almost believe it. What is it? Is that John?
Junior.
Shut up.
You knew this.
Oh, Frank. Roundabout way to do it. But...
Roundabout. You dropped a little yes bomb there. Did you hear their bass? Was it the bass player or the keyboardist?
Alan White, their drummer. Yeah, they say he died of a lonely heart.
Did he own it or did he rent it?
Whatever it is, it killed him. That's kind of sad though. I love Yes, but I was more of a Bruford era kind of guy.
Well, of course, that was one of the original proggy bands from the 70s. Yeah.
Dude, we should talk about Close to the Edge one of these times.
Close to the Edge, what's that?
That's, I don't know, arguably probably their greatest album from Yes.
I'm not super familiar with Yes.
I don't know how you like, because you're weird, because my first instinct would be you'll fucking hate him. But then I always go back to like, wait a minute, this guy likes Steely Dan. He
Yes,
could
that's
like
good
it.
music. It's just I can't get into like instrumental stuff for too long. But I have to be honest, the vocals of Yes, like eventually are going to get on my nerves. I mean,
Oh, dude, it's crazy. Like the John Anderson, the singer, like I was listening to an interview. He talks the way he sings. His voice is seriously like this.
hey guys, let's
It's
go
like
get some pizza.
he really is like a little elf. Like it's incredible, but
You
he's
know, I was
genius.
thinking about funny vocals the other night, and because I had a coroner station I started on Pandora, and it's been like playing Nuclear Assault like a motherfucker on there.
Oh yeah.
And I've never heard Nuclear Assault on Pandora ever before, so I'm like, holy shit. I'm just thinking like, it's good to hear them again. I haven't heard them since I like was listening to actual records. That's been since like the early 90s. I haven't heard them, and it gets old quick because it's, his vocals, John Conley, nobody else
Like
does them.
kind of for upper
After a
froggy.
while, you're just like, okay, I can't take any more of this, I'm done. But
Him and what's the guy's name from Violence? They kind of have that same sort of timbre.
see, I don't like, yeah, the guy from Violence. I never liked Violence. I don't understand the appeal of that band.
It reminds me of like an angry child. Like I don't know, like but I like it. Like I not my favorite. I prefer,
Like, there you go. See, that's what I'm talking about with like American thrash, like Violence. Like, what the fuck is that? It's not heavy. It's fast. And then
it's
Forbidden
pretty
came
heavy.
on too on my coroner station the other night.
Oh,
Didn't
Forbidden's
remember
great.
them.
Oh yeah.
Same thing, really high, vocals, and then like the music's all just fast, wanky, like noodly, riffy, like all that shit. And it's like, I'm not into this. Why are Americans so obsessed with riffing and fretboard
Dude.
gymnastics and high
Yeah.
vocals? Like, fuck this.
Yeah, the space of metal you occupy is very small. Like once again, it's like
I am my own cosmos.
you miss
That's
use
what I say about
musicians.
Americans are the ones who occupy a small space. It's got to have triggered drums, Slayer riffing, and
What?
be overproduced with high vocals. That's the end of it. That's American
Yeah.
right there.
Really? No, it's weird. It's like it's almost like talking to someone who's like listened to one metal song and then made their judgment on like that one song. Like it's all noise to me. Isn't it just a bunch of loud screaming and guitars?
It's
You know,
not. It's just a
it's
bunch of
weird.
overproduced technical jargon. To me, that's what it is.
Yeah, but that's kind of like the oh, it's all noise or almost critique. We're gonna get this. We're gonna crack this though. We're gonna crack the code and maybe
Compare these two songs. Say any song by Violence or I'm Off the Edge by Forbidden. I'm off the edge. Any of those songs, American death metal, anything by Malevolent Creation, whoever, Immolation. Compare
dude, that's
that
so
to
weird. Okay, hold on. This is fucking crazy. We were just talking about Yes, right? And
yeah.
John Anderson. I literally turned on my phone and because I had Blabbermouth up, and on Blabbermouth they have a story of John Anderson to celebrate 50th anniversary of Yes's Close to the Edge album on summer 22. That is crazy.
For Mark, did you not know this?
May 31st. Like that story literally popped up like while we were talking.
Because I am the dark god of metal. You need
Uh,
to listen to me.
well, that means we now we do have to talk about Close to the Edge.
Well, if you don't listen to me, you're going to suffer.
Okay, I'll listen. Go ahead.
There you
What the
go.
hell?
That
What
was You
was
Suffer
that?
by Napalm Death.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, that was a joke. John
I was
Peel.
gonna. All
What I'm
right.
saying, if you compare any standard American death metal song to, say, let's say Creator from their first or second record, Flag of Hate, that song, compare that to any standard American death metal song, huge difference.
Flag of Hate.
Yeah,
Well, why are we comparing them?
because I'm just saying American death metal and thrash versus European, so vastly different, and Americans are like stripping it down and like Morris sounding it. That's my term, because you go to Morris sound and they're like, why is this all distorted? Take that away. Why is this so heavy on the kick drums? Take that away. Let's put these click pads on so we can hear the beats. I want to hear the drums, the kick drum. That's what makes it heavy.
I don't know. Because dude, I think even a lot of the bands, believe it or not, a lot of the bands that you love are using triggered drums. Like that's pretty standard practice for anything.
I don't think so. I mean, there are some out there who use it, like say Decapitated, but Decapitated are really good. What?
Oh yeah. Well, there are bands that I like that use it, and if I like it, it's okay if they use it. But if they use triggered drums and I don't like the band, then they should have. I don't know, dude. We're gonna figure this
Do you
out.
think I'm biased?
No, no, I don't think you're biased. I think you're
Well, okay, I'm
naive.
saying you have European bands, they have a different style they play as well as the production, and American.
I think you have a overly simplistic uh, view and a impulsive rush to judgment on entire swaths, on huge swaths of bands. We're gonna chip this away.
Not really, because they all sound the same.
We're gonna chip away
Hey, I
your
say it
your
about
cult.
Swedish metal, that all sounds the same too.
Yeah, it all tastes like Swedish fish.
Norwegian black metal, it all gets samey sounding after a few years,
You know my favorite Swedish band?
Don't say
Uh,
ABBA.
I won't. I forgot. Might have been Europe, but they were Swedish, right?
I guess. I don't know. They're from Europe, actually.
I
Weren't they
like them.
European?
Pagan's Mind, but I think Pagan's Mind is Norwegian.
I have no idea. I don't know who that is.
Oh, rad band.
Pagan's
Good,
Mind?
good. Pagan's Mind. Good prog metal.
Oh, no wonder I don't know it.
Yeah, really good though.
Yeah, when are we going to do a show on Pink Cream 69?
Fuck yeah, they're Swedish. Or
Are
no,
they?
they're German. Pink Cream 69 is, I think they're German. Let's Google. Pink Cream 69.
What's that loud humming in the background over there?
I don't know. I think someone's mowing the lawn outside, but it seems really far away. But if it's coming through,
Is it a UFO?
no, they're German.
Well, of course they are with a thing like Pink Cream 69.
Yeah, but it's pronounced Ein fein keine Stein. I don't know. That's not really how it's
Wow, that's
pronounced
racist.
to Germans. That's okay. That's okay. No, Pink Cream 69 is good. Pretty Maids, but they're Danish. They're a good one. We gotta start this this is uh this is all about give and take. And eventually we gotta have to start listening to some more melodic hair metal. We gotta start tiptoeing into that area. If he wants to fuck with me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man. Cause you throw out a name like Pink Cream 69, I'm ready to go.
Oh, boy.
Throw down. We can review their first album. Or TNT. They're part Norwegian, part American. Yeah, yeah. They're amazing. I don't know, I'm just gonna start naming bands. But the only thing that was interesting was Megadeth has permanently put James Lomenzo in on bass. He replaced David Ellison. Did you know what happened to David Ellison?
Supposedly he did something sexual with a teenager?
No, she was of age. So he didn't do
Big
anything
deal.
technically wrong. It just well, you know how like Dave Mustaine and David Ellison, they're like born again Christians. So I think it was just a bad look. Like
They're in a band called Megadeth. What are they worried
yeah,
about their image for?
well, it's not mega jizz, you know.
Why are they even playing in a band called Megadeth if they're born again Christians? Why don't they just start doing like life rock or something? And
Death is life.
who cares about Megadeth anyway? I mean, do you even
I
listen
do.
You probably do, but
Yeah, I do. Because they're great. They're amazing.
see,
See?
right there, that's the epitome of American metal, like a bunch of noodling guitar bullshit that I don't want to fucking hear.
What?
Oh, dude, Marty
What are
Fried,
you
like whatever. I don't give a
what are
fuck.
you hearing noodling, man? Like, yes, there are guitar solos, but there are also riffs. Good riffs.
Yeah, with his like
Well, I guess so. We won't be
second
interviewing
album or
David
die.
Steinitz. Second album or die?
Yep,
That's Peace Sells.
yep.
Great album.
That's when he was doing drugs and was flirting with Satanism. That's when the band is at their best.
When they flirt with Satanism.
When you're old, born again, and like you had one foot in the grave, that's when you're a pussy. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I'm like,
This was a potpourri episode.
it's a potpourri.
Are you mentally challenged?
Oh, barely.
Maybe I'm
Uh,
mentally challenged.
yeah, and whatever. I'm feeling a little bit better. I
Actually, you're mentally challenged, not me. You're the guy who's mentally challenged.
yeah, apparently.
I know what I like in metal. I know what the fuck. You're the guy who's
I
mentally
know,
challenged.
and I like, I like, I like many
You're the glam
things.
loving prog worshiper that likes all the weird albums everybody else hates.
Yeah.
You're probably wearing a Babymetal shirt right now, aren't you?
No, actually, in fact, and if you want to check this band out, uh, I'm wearing a Serox shirt. They're really good. Serocs.
Never heard of it.
Check them out. They're good. They're tech, but they sound like, but it's raw sounding tech, like a human is making it, not machines.
Oh, so you don't like overproduced stuff and drum triggers and stuff?
No, I don't like it to sound like it's not human, but drum triggers are fine.
Not human, like the album?
Yeah, I don't want it to sound like human at all. If I wanted to listen to human, I'll listen to Cynic Focus. Same thing.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Prog dude, Mark signs off for the day. So do we all.
I need a cigarette.
We're keeping it metal.
Oh yeah, yeah. Salt Lake City, Utah.